All right, guys, a lot of action this week around the world on both sides of the pond. Of course, over in London, you had Dillian Whyte and Joseph Parker go the distance in a heavyweight slugfest. And then you had the Top Rank on ESPN Plus card. And then here in Los Angeles at Staples Center, you had Mikey Garcia beating Robert Easter, unifying lightweight titles. So make sure you check out this week's episode of The Neutral Corner. I'll talk about all the fights. I'll cover everything in detail. But real quick, just want to talk about this card. The opener for Showtime, it was a triple header. Mario Barrios looked really, really good tonight, stopping Roman. I thought that he set up his punches very, very well. Good offensive variety, went downstairs, went upstairs, showed a lot of poise. These Los Angeles fight crowds, they can get really bloodthirsty, and some of the crowd was booing in the first round of that fight. And sometimes a young fighter, and Barrios is from San Antonio, a young fighter on the road trying to impress the crowd in the big city like LA, can let the crowd get to him a little bit, get him out of his game plan. He showed a lot of poise. He stayed within his game plan, set everything up, got the stoppage. All right, there's people throwing cups down here. I thought that was a good performance by Barrios. In the co-main, Luis Ortiz, King Kong, beats Rozvan Kojanu. I'm probably butchering that name. Either way, that was matchmaking 101. I thought Ortiz looked good. He looked sharp. He looked in shape. He looked healthy. He might have looked healthier tonight than he looked against Deontay Wilder, to be honest. Good performance, good win for him just to get back a W, and get back in the ring and get some work in. What I was really surprised about, though, tonight was the Los Angeles fight crowd here. When they announced his name, when he came to the ring and then Jimmy Lennon announced his name before the fight, there was a huge reaction from the fans here. So the Mexican-American fans here in LA really, really respect Luis Ortiz, and I think they respect him for what he did and what he put forth against Deontay Wilder. He lost that fight, but he really, really gave it his all, went out on a shield. Great performance, and these fans here respected that. So he got plenty of love from the fans here. All right, main event. Mikey Garcia unifies titles, beats Robert Easter. I thought the scores were a little closer than the fight I saw. Maybe 118, 110 is what I had. I think you could give Robert Easter maybe 2 rounds. What I couldn't understand was what was Easter's game plan. I really don't know what he was trying to do in there other than survive. He tried to do this jab down to the body, and I kind of see what he was going for because Mikey does keep his hands up and his elbows wide. He leaves his body open. But to get in there and get to that, you're going to eat jabs on the way in and counter punches, and Mikey's a really sharp counter puncher straight down the middle. So if you're going to try to go down to that body, you've got to feint. You also got to use angles. You got to have crazy lateral movement. Someone like Vasyl Lomachenko, I think, could really exploit that flaw in Garcia, where he keeps his elbows out. Easter just couldn't do it. He just doesn't have the skill, doesn't have the talent. He's just not at that level. So he was jabbing down to the body, getting countered, getting picked off. When Easter actually stood up, fought tall, and jabbed to the head, he connected. He must have knocked Mikey's head back 30, 40 times in this fight with stiff jabs. So Garcia doesn't move his head a lot, doesn't have a lot of lateral movement, moves in straight lines. He can be hit with a jab. I just don't understand for the life of me why Easter wasn't throwing 50-plus jabs around. If you go back a week ago to Usyk-Gassiev, I get it, not exactly an exact comparison for this matchup, but stay with me here. Usyk used the jab to beat Gassiev. Boxing 101, kept the jab in the face of the stronger guy who threw the harder punches. That's all Easter needed to do tonight. And I'm not saying he would have won the fight. He still would have lost. Garcia is just much, much better. But he would have been in the fight. It would have been a closer, more competitive fight. He just didn't do it. So I'm not sure what his game plan was other than to go 12 rounds. Garcia wins. He did drop Easter, I believe maybe in the 4th round. I can't remember the exact round. Dropped him, win all 12. What does this mean for the lightweight division and the scope of pound for pound and all that in boxing? Well, there are levels to these things, okay? For Garcia to beat Easter, this is a guy who has had some really, really close fights recently. Split decisions that many feel he probably lost to Fortuna. Maybe he lost to Shafikov, right? Some people feel that way. He got those nods, but those were close fights. And you really just got the feeling that Garcia could have ended this fight at any time if he really stepped it up, if he stepped on the gas pedal and went for the kill, and he just never did. He dominated the fight, in my opinion, especially down the stretch. He coasted down the stretch like I told you guys he would. But to really make a statement the way Vasyl Lomachenko did against Jorge Linares, fighting a bigger guy who can punch, stopping him. I would have liked to have seen that from Mikey Garcia tonight. Either way, he unifies titles and solidifies his position as the second best lightweight in the world. But in my opinion, Vasyl Lomachenko, a notch above. He's clearly the #1 lightweight in the world. And from a pound-for-pound perspective, I just saw more levels to what Lomachenko did against Jorge Linares, more levels to what Alexander Usyk did against Mikey Garcia than what I saw tonight with Mikey Garcia against Robert Easter. It's a good, solid win. It's the best win so far of Mikey Garcia's career, unifies titles. I just didn't see that extra something. And maybe that's just not in his personality. Maybe he's one of those guys that does enough to win, never going to step on the gas pedal and take a big risk, though. I got to say, though, man, as far as a matchup between Garcia and Lomachenko, I just think Loma's footwork, the angles, the way he can pivot and get to the body, with Mikey's elbows open like that, with Mikey's lack of head movement, I think he could be hit, and I think that Loma would outbox him. I just think he'd box circles around him if he could avoid the big straight right hand down the middle from Garcia. Because that shot from Linares that dropped Lomachenko, if Garcia lands that shot, it's good night, and Garcia knocks out Lomachenko. If he can avoid that, I think he outboxes him. 8-9 rounds he wins against Garcia. That's just what I saw tonight. After the fight, Garcia called out Errol Spence, who was here with a bunch of the other PBC stars. I just don't think that's a good move for Mikey Garcia. Now, he's called out everybody. He's called out everybody except for, like, Anthony Joshua recently, right? And he hasn't fought most of the guys he's called out. If he really is serious about fighting Errol Spence, if I'm his team, I'm advising him not to do that. I just think Errol Spence is too strong, does too many things too well, that he's just biting off more than he could chew. I think Mikey should stay at lightweight, and he should try to get that Lomachenko fight. I think that's one of the best fights, if not the best matchup, pound for pound, that could be made in boxing right now. I think that's a big fight. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below. Let's get the conversation going. Tune into TNC this week. I'll talk about all the fights in detail, including the big heavyweight slugfest over in London. I'll see you at the fights.